Hello there, YouTube, and welcome to Tuesday the 10th of February. She's all kinds of foggy out here. 30 degrees this morning. It's made it to 37 now as we're leaving. And boy, she was fogged in. Just a little bit ago, everything was white. Looked out the window and I thought it snowed. It was all the fog had frozen to the ground. Sasha, she definitely wanted to stay inside. And then when I was, getting the car out and stuff, she doesn't normally like to come in the garage. If she's on a leash, she'll follow me in. Look at her being careful where she walks. I think this is her little area. But yeah, she wanted to come in the garage. I think she sat outside all morning. I think she froze herself, and then she got all warm and didn't want to come back out. Maybe you should regulate in the morning instead of sitting out there looking for cats and whatever else and barking and getting frozen. But anyway, looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. Looks like no rain till Friday. It was supposed to rain straight through, but things change for the better. Gotta love that. All right, we're off and running. 46 degrees, and I mean disgustingly dirty windows. I was gonna clean them off this morning, but ran out of time. Got out to the shop and go, well, can't do it. That Sasha was being all sad and forlorn. I think she wanted to stay inside.
She reads more into it.
She had that.
Does that little blink at her by.
No, that was her little sad face coming across the yard. She don't usually visit me in the mornings all the way over there.
Yeah.
And I'm walking away. She's like, well, aren't you gonna
Let me back in.
back inside? But anyway, Mama, we made it to Tuesday the 10th.
We did.
It's going in there and bust out a day.
All right.
However that may be. Yesterday was a nice surprise. That Goldwing powered RT, that was incredible.
That was cool.
Hope that came across the video as fun as it was. That was wild. Quite a feat. All right. I'll see you in the passings.
All right.
All right. Love you. See you. Bye.
Love you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
So I have a 2011 Spyder RT-S that's on my schedule. Actually, it should already be here. I need to go upstairs, and it might be delayed because it's cool out there, although it's 49 degrees now. And see what's going on with that. Apparently it stops running while riding. Good Lord, it could be map hoses, purge valves, spark plug wires. Geez, a whole host of things on those old twins. But to do that, dug out my old MPI 2. Actually, you could make an MPI 3 work for this, but I have to install the old driver, the XXI, I forget what the thing's called, an old driver on there. But anyway, I got it running. Just need to connect it to a vehicle. But those have to be 2016 and older that'll work on. The old Bud software, Buds 2 is gone. So 17 and newer is Buds 3. And with that, I have to have the V800 or the MPI 4. They call this one the MPI 2. And then that white one was the MPI 3. And then that long one, they were originally calling it an MPI 4, and then they switched the name to V800, which is fine. But and those things are over $1,000. So there's one floating. I think there's a spare one sitting around for emergency, but it hasn't been released into the wild yet. And they got a really nice, robust end to them. You have to be careful with these because they're it's just a single wire. It's not braided wire, and you got to be very careful with them, or they will break. This is my second one, I think, because my son was a little rough and didn't realize how sensitive they were and broke it. So I bought another one of those or actually I think the service manager gave me one. He gave me this cable, and forever he thought that he gave me one of the MPI 3s. But they were damaging. I think they went through 3 or 4 of those MPI 3s upstairs. There's one guy in particular, don't give him any of your electrical stuff. See, I keep everything all neat and rolled up. In the first use, you'll never get it to roll up like that again. I loaned him my fluke meter, and it took years to finally get those cables to memorize being rolled up correctly. Crazy. But, you all kinds of different people do different things. You learn who not to loan anything to. But anyway, that was supposed to be here at 11. I'll go upstairs and see what the status of that is. Go check her out. But I got my little buds folder going here, and the screen, everything's really low. So there's buds 3 and there's buds all. And this is the old school thing. If you guys remember these, man, have you been watching? Oh, I'm sorry about the white balance. I've got it set for the light out here that freaks it out with the screen here. Don't want to show you this. That's not the old password that I used on this thing, and I it's telling me there's no vehicle attached. I'll just say okay. Let's see, nothing gets populated up here until it connects to a vehicle. But anyway, she's definitely functioning. But that'll work. I can do 16 and older Spyders and stuff beyond that. I think it's 07 through 16. You can do watercraft, snowmobiles, whatever. But things like watercraft and snowmobiles, dude, when they get that old, them things are, the holes are planter somewhere or something. I don't know what happens to those things. Every once in a while I see them old things floating around. But you get older than that, and it took special software that we don't even have any of that stuff anymore. Remember this old BRP Buds box that you had for programming keys and doing all kinds of stuff? But they were pretty simple. I think it was pretty much keys is what the thing did. And I think early things would use it and it would show codes, but it was very primitive. And I think all that stuff, if it's around here, no one's gonna know where it's at. But I'll let you know as we go on here and see what's going on with that. It'll be interesting to bring out the old skills, the old twins. The last one I had was I think that was a 2011 too, was a red one. That was an RT-S. And we went back and forth over a couple of things there and got him all sorted out. He's been rolling ever since. But I don't know. I need to go up there and see, make sure he hasn't canceled or maybe it's up there and they're writing him up. Who knows? But anyway, welcome to the day at work. Hopefully we find some cool stuff to do. Holy moly. There is literally no way. This is a 2011 RT-S. And oddly enough, he's bringing in, it says the ACS doesn't hold air. Bleeds out while he's riding, which we'll do some inspections. There's nothing about drivability. And that's what it's on the schedule for. It says drivability issues, dies while riding. But I'll hook it up to the computer. Look, the seat is still intact. A little bit of thread, that's normal. But usually that rips out right in there, always. It just rips out. Look, it's not sun faded. He has absolutely taken wonderful care of this thing. Even his LEDs work, except for the brake light here. It looks like it's missing a tooth. That's common. These LEDs just don't last. But, wow. I'm impressed. What do you have? 8,200 miles on it. I had to have read that wrong. 18. Okay. My pen was acting weird anyway. That's still, it's being ridden enough that it's probably fresh. Yeah, look, I got 6-year-old Slim that I think it's got 3,000 something on it, 3,500. I felt like I rode the wheels off that thing when I first got it. Man, a day like this, man, wouldn't it be great to drag that old gal out and take a rip? That's such a fun motorcycle. This weighs a little bit more than a Sportster, and got that Milwaukee 8 in here. She's a Hummer. Interesting, he's missing both of his little covers there. But I'm gonna hook her up. See my MPI 2 and Bud's All works on it. Yeah, these things usually die right away, but they're all working like I said, just that one little segment. Probably about 3-4 LEDs are out. I didn't check to see if all his headlights and stuff were working. The through 19 headlight bulbs were a thing with those. You got LEDs in there? I can't tell. A lot of people put the LEDs in there. Those little bulbs went out as well. I'll give her a little inspection while I'm here as well. First I want to hook up and do some tests with the ACS pump. And I can also reset maybe the level's not correct or something. And get a jack underneath and lift it up and see if the bags weren't as thick on these. And where they sit on the swing arm is it's almost like a cup that holds the bag. Well, rocks can collect around there and wear holes in them, but it wouldn't lessen while he's going down the road. If the bag had a hole in it, you hear the pump running all the time, and the pump wasn't running. It was a little low, but it wasn't completely flattened out. It could be just the ride height thing, and me not remembering that the twins, the collector, which also has the cat in it, they would bump the rack, so I stand up, take the weight off the back, and then it won't touch. You can't sit on the seat and drive over the ramp part. It'll bump it, doesn't hurt anything. It's got some hanger things. It's almost like bumpers on the collector underneath there. You can't hurt it. But yeah, amazing. That's just crazy how good that thing looks. Holy moly. Well, unfortunately, he definitely has an ACS pump issue going. Let me activate the suspension up button here and let you hear what the pump sounds like. Now listen carefully. You hear that? You just hear a motor running. You notice what you don't hear? You don't hear the pump going brrrr. It's that classic thing where it's separated itself. I even got that one sitting over here. I showed you guys a bunch of times. I think it's sitting right here. Yeah. The motor has separated itself from the crankshaft. There's a gear at the end. It's gutted itself. So the motor's running, but it's not actuating the little piston. And there's a cylinder for it. It sits on the top, and it sounds like a little Cox airplane engine when you're trying to start them up. So he doesn't have a problem there, and he's got several counts of lean cylinder, and it's suggesting go through the purge valve inspection procedure. So it's which is probably what it does is it's the purge valve isn't sealing off, so it gets charcoal that gets in there and makes it stick open, so it's always breathing the evap canister gas. So the bike tries to compensate for it, and it compensates to a point that it leans it out too much. So it's got two systems. One system is trying to save it. The other one's going, hey, there's a problem. So one's leaning it out because it's sensing an overrich condition, and it's also seeing that it's running lean because the mapping has leaned it out so much, trying to compensate because it's thinking it's getting too much fuel. So, there's a couple of covers you got to pull off there, but definitely ACS pump. She's a goner. Now I can manually air it, and what I've done with people is I just turn off the ACS pump because it will release air also. I tell you, like you brake and it'll go, and you hold the brakes down, and the suspension it makes the swing arm go down when you hit the brakes real hard. And if you hold the brakes, the ACS sensor goes, whoa, I'm sitting too high. So it tries to let all the air out. Well, if the pump's not running, when it lets the air out, it sinks. But if you go into buds and you disable the ACS, then you can manually run it. But like I've told you before, there's so many hose fittings on the models with ACS that there's way too much potential for leaks. Obviously, this thing has ACS. But you're only seeing the simplified. Well, here's the check valve, and that looks like the same check valve. This is the little electronic device that will let the air out. But looks like this literally the same sensor. But yeah, you got all these fittings, and then this one's going to the bag. So instead of two fittings from the air from the you don't touch that if you have ACS. You use it if something goes wrong, but you need to be able to disable ACS. But you got the hose going from that leading up. I don't know, it must be a different hose going down. I'm not sure. Oh, that one's probably going to the bag. So that one's going to the Schrader. So you got two fittings there, and with one without ACS, you have two fittings. The Schrader valve straight to the bag, and this one goes into the module there, and you got all the fittings for the pump. So you got 6 fittings instead of 2. All right, 2, 2, and 2. Yeah. So there's way too much potential for leaks. But now, just so you know, how that's all mounted inside this thing looks completely different than that Canyon. It's wedged in underneath the cowling piece. There's a piece of plastic which is part of the inner fender. It's in the perfect spot. So unfortunately, he does need an ACS pump or disarm it and manually adjust it from now to eternity. but you need to be aware it's going to leak. And you could get a section of hose, and that's a nightmare in itself, and just run a hose from the Schrader to the bag and just bypass all that. That'll help it hold air longer. But anyway, so this thing is just as clean on the inside as it is on the outside. So I checked the purge valve. The purge valve is functioning correctly. It's sealing off nice and tight. So went over and checked the map hoses, and they're not dry rotted, but they're very, very loose. I mean, they're literally just not even sitting on the valve itself. I mean, look how loose that is. They're just floating on there. So I'm sure it's sucking air. So it's getting lean conditions, and it had me check the purge valve and evap hoses. The hoses are cheap. Got the cover off. But one thing that concerns me, there's a lot of oil coming from this thing. Let me get underneath here. Let's see, it's even dripping already. But man, that's a lot of oil. But I can see signs. If you can make this out, let me get a pointer here. You can see signs where the where the water pump is weeping. That's where the weep hole is right back there. And you can see it draining down the side here. Another thing is so much on that pan is the oil pressure switch, which is sitting on the cover right in there. That thing can weep. Evap hoses. Unfortunately, the ACS pump purge valve is nice and tight. It's not weeping forward anywhere, but you can see wetness along the frame and stuff. It's definitely weeping from somewhere. Well, like I say, that's not unusual for these things. The old KTMs back in those days, you know, this is made just right down the street. Rotax is right next to, well, it was anyway, the factory for KTM. In fact, I used to joke when I was at KTM school, then I was at BRP school, and they both joke how they're, the technicians are like gypsies. They'll go to KTM, then they'll go to BMW, and they come back to Rotax, you know, and they just kind of swap around. It's all German speaking, you know, between them all, and they just bounce around. But that's been, yeah, it's been a long time ago. Let me do some digging, see if I can figure out where the most or the biggest source of the weepage is. I'm kind of suspicious of that oil pressure switch. Can't exactly get it to focus. There you are. That's the very bottom of the water pump housing. I just got the mirror sitting inside there. That water pump is leaking way more oil than it appears from the top side. It's just rolling down the case, and of course, you know, wind blows through the chassis as it's going down the road, and it just sends it all over the place. And you know, it'll leak from the lowest pan down there is where she'll puke. If you can see, she's just completely wet all the way underneath her. You can actually see a drip forming on the frame on this side. But that frame is kind of a rectangle shape, and it just blows over. It's the oil pressure switch. It's just damp from what's blowing around. So unfortunately, this thing's going to need a water pump put in it. And people go, a lot of people go, I don't understand why I'm replacing a water pump for an oil leak. It's that seal that's in there. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing doesn't have the original water pump inside it. They replaced the seals. There was one that came with, there was a change, and then there was another change. And after you put that last one in, they never come back. All right, I got a list of stuff to do here. Well, hello there, YouTube. Here we meet again at the end of the day, sitting in the old war wagon. Is that an amazingly clean 2011 RT-S or what? Still can't get over it. Can't get over it. He's taking the body panels off and actually cleaned underneath. But yep. So I get the estimate finished up, and they'll give him a call there. It's a bummer that good water pump is leaking, which that always freaks people out. And you go, well, you need a water pump because you're leaking oil everywhere. They go, what? And you got to explain to them how it all works, you know. I think a couple that the actual water pump failed and coolant was weeping out of the weep hole, but way more, like probably 99%, that seal goes bad. But like I say, when you put the newest updated one in there, you don't block that fan vent out of there, it'll last the rest of the life of the machine. They just don't do it again. But anyway, Mama says I never shut up the whole way home. So I sat down there by myself, and so I talked to the camera a couple of times.
Poor
so you're the victim. You happen to jump in this car with me, and I've been sitting down there all by my lonesome. I got stuff to say.
Yes, he does.
I don't think she listens to half of it.
I do.
But just become
Sometimes.
like the old Charlie Brown cartoon.
Yeah.
It's just noise. Anyway, I'm gonna put a wrap on it.
Alrighty, well, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. We will talk to you tomorrow. Same smoke time, same smoke channel. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. And you guys have an amazing Wednesday or Thursday.
Heck yeah. All right.
We'll see you in the morning.
Yep, we'll see you on hump day,
Yes.
which I thought it was all day today.
Or hub.
So I'm already a day behind.
Oh, the blows.
Dang it. All right. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye-bye.